intro, and I was thinking about growth. Snow Like a Piece is Fatimah, co-author of Outstanding Personal Relationships and co-author of the new book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. I'm smiling immediately because I was thinking about our intro as I was watching it, and I'm thinking about growth. And how I had self limiting beliefs in the area of not marriage, but polygyny. And to see us all three walking together, building this brand and business together as a family, not just the three of us, is incredible. So I'm leading with that because this Quintessential Queens or installment of Quintessential Queens that I'm conducting this evening is just that it's about finding and owning your inner strength. Now, before I begin, I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up in the chat. And if you do have any comments or excuse me, any questions, be sure to put question marks in front of those questions so that I can easily identify them. Let me know where you are at, what city, what state, what country, what continent you're tuning in from. Our family is traveling right now, so it's really beautiful to do so, especially with this many people. We have a lot of children in our family. Well, they're our children, but there are adults as well. So, and we got some littles too. So shout out to them. I love them to pieces. I'm going to make sure I'm just doing some little checks and balances. Hey, Ohio in the house. I love it. I love it. I love it. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you, Sister Fatimah, as you gave me salams about an hour ago. I still needed to return them, and I do indeed. Thank you, thank you, thank you for spending your time right now with me for this installment again of Quintessential Queens about owning your inner strength. Now, I get this question. I think I've gotten this question about inner strength more than anything. I've been told that I'm so strong, and I've been told that I have such powerful inner strength. I'm wise, and these things like that. And I don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you that growth is a real thing if you allow it into your life. And I had to make a decision to allow growth into my life. And I knew I was a strong person indeed before polygyny. And then you kind of pause and go, what happened to my inner strength? What happened to me? What's going on? Because you do feel turned upside down and shaken by your ankles sometimes, and because you just don't know about change. And sometimes we're afraid of change because it's something scary and there's some newness that we're not aware of, and we don't know where things are going to kind of go. But sometimes that fear leads you to be stretched in the proper direction and become who you need to become. That does not mean you stop and you don't grow. People go, oh, you're a coach, and you didn't. I wasn't always one. I wasn't always a wife. I wasn't always a mother. I wasn't always a Muslim. So I think about the growth journeys that I was on and have been on for this entire time, almost 30 years. And as an adult, and I'm going, whoo, this is different, because there's different areas and there's different hats that I wear. And I must make sure that I'm paying the proper rights and attention to each one of them. Did I always know how to do that? No. As you go to work, I raise the kids with you. I stay home. we build this thing together, and this is how it's going to be. But that was my very, very young mind, and not understanding anything other than I didn't want what my parents had or what my grandparents had, because those relationships ultimately broke, whether it be a breakup, my parents never were divorced, or a divorce. They were never married, so they didn't have to, my parents didn't have to experience a divorce because they were never married. But there was a cataclysmic breaking of a family. And then I went through it again with my grandparents. And then I felt like I was going to going through it again or going to go through it again within my own marriage. So it was triple trauma. It was triple trauma. But the beauty of being in the place that I was as a married woman is that I had the sweetness of Islam, and Islam creating these boundaries and regulations upon polygyny, marriage, so many areas of life. And I know we like to focus on those two specifically because we might be saying, I'm hurting in my marriage, I'm hurting in polygyny. Because the women are not practicing polygyny, the men are. They're married to more than one wife, not more than one spouse, male or female, more than one wife, and Muslim men can have up to 4. So dealing in the emotional chaos of that was something that I kind of had to deal with, but making sure that Islamically everything was okay. I was okay with that part because I said Islam is going to make sure that's cool and that's done in a halal way. There's rules, there's regulations. So I wasn't really concerned about that because I knew I married a man that paid very close attention to that, and he still does. And he takes Islam extremely seriously. That doesn't mean we don't make mistakes and we don't have to grow or learn. We're constantly students in this life. And that's very important to understand that, because for how much you worship and you recognize the power of being Muslim and a practicing Muslim, that doesn't mean we don't make mistakes or get lost or don't know what to do or get our heart broken or deal with pain or deal with emotions and think. We're people. And to bring back the human quality of men and women is extremely important as well. Just because I'm not a husband, just because I'm not a man, and I'm sitting here as a wife and a mother, artist, author, and entrepreneur, doesn't mean I can't listen to those that are men and try to learn from their perspective what it's like for them, and have a listening ear, not an ear where, you talk and then I got some rebuttal waiting. No, because I don't have one, because I don't know what that life is like to have more than one wife and try to juggle it. And so many people say, oh, you white knight, Coach Nazir, oh, you take up for him and you defend him and you do all this extra stuff. Let me tell you something about me real quick. I don't know if everybody is familiar with our story. We met in high school when we weren't Muslim. We're 14, 15 years old. I got one of them weird birthdays. So that's where we started when we weren't Muslim. So I've been here a long time. So we've been defending each other and standing up for one another for a very long time. And I have no intention of stopping anytime soon. So I want to make sure that I'm clear for those who need clarification on my position on that. And now that I do have a co-wife, I am there for her as well. So I want, those that think I'm not serious, just know that I am. And if I wasn't, I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't refer to it. I wouldn't talk about it. But I am, because we're family, and that's what families do. And does he need me? Does he need me to come up behind him and say, yeah, and get him and all this stuff and let me at him and all that? No, he's a grown man. He can hold his own. And I'm sure many have found that out in the comments that they leave that are negative. And it doesn't change us. It won't change us. And part of inner strength is understanding that it's there, and it's just about unearthing it and allowing it to come forward if we do the work. So one thing I knew about myself is that I had an inner strength, but I didn't know how to apply it in polygyny. I didn't know that part of having inner strength is having a conversation with my co-wife and letting her answer questions that are designed for her specifically. You got to be strong to sit in a room together and be vulnerable, which I believe is a superpower if you're in front of the right people, the people that won't try to, my grandma used to say, wash your face with it when you show that side of you, or make you feel as though you're less than, or try to use it to hurt you because of. So that was one of the best things we ever did, was just sit down and really get to understand where each other came from, how we grew up. And then once that happened, so much of polygyny and just being women in and wives in it made so much sense, because you get to humanize and not demonize co-wives. And we didn't look at each other as demons. We didn't look at each other as homewreckers. I never did that. If anybody could wreck my home, it was the person I was married to and the person he's married to. Those are the people that can wreck the marriage. Anybody else outside of that thing has to be allowed in to cause some kind of disturbance if they are allowed into that space. We stay in our lanes, we stay in our own marriages, and that's it. And we know that we have the common goal to not destroy this family. You know, that the saying goes, if the family is messed up, it's because the adults messed it up. The children had messed the family up. The people that was running the thing did. I watched it within my own family. My grandfather and my grandmother and my father were my family when I was little. And I watched that thing implode because they didn't know how to love each other in a way that allowed them to grow and evolve and have these hard conversations. And it was just like every man for themselves. It was one of the worst ways to grow up. They said, but we love you though. We can't stand each other, but we love you. And it was just like, no, that's not what I want for my family at all. I'm going to have a short Q&A towards the end, but absolutely, you will be able to ask questions. But just be sure to put question marks in front of those questions so that I can see them. And some of them, if I have the knowledge to answer them, I will. Some of them are designed for my co-wife or our husband, Coach Nazir. Please reach out to us at support@outstanding personal relationships. Okay. But they kind of taught me about what not to do. And so I kind of was alone a lot in my own emotions, and I had to self-soothe and deal with my emotions on my own, because back then people didn't really sit kids down and talk to them about what they just saw. You kind of got this response of, well, your granddaddy acting a fool, your mama acting a fool. Don't listen to your grandma, she's crazy. I mean, it's just because there was no accountability. There was no accountability. And then everybody would say, when I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But none of you never said you was wrong. So everybody was right in what they did, whether it was right or wrong. But I'm the child sitting there watching this thing burn to the ground. And it was not easy. So I've had to be strong for a long time. And I've been through a lot of stuff. But I turned those losses into lessons. And have I always hit the nail on the head? No. Absolutely not. Have I overreacted before? Yeah. Have I been wrong before? Not apologize? Oh yeah. You know, have I waited for apologies that never came? Yeah. Is that heartbreaking? Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember, Coach Nyla remembers this because we were there, but I remember the day we got married, my mother pulled me into an empty room, and she said she apologized for not being there for me growing up and not raising me. And that she asked for forgiveness and all this stuff. And I said, there she goes, stealing my thunder, putting all this on me the day I'm getting married, right before I get married. Here she go. But I think because it was such a monumental step in my life, and I allowed her into that part of my life, that she felt the need in that moment to apologize. So I said, well, let her have it, but I'd rather, and I would have preferred that she not do that. And once my grandmother was there, reluctantly there, because she really did not like Islam. She didn't. I was a new Muslim, and she was like, well, no, I don't like it. She was saying to me, she said, you know what? She needs her behind whooped for that, because she understood that you don't put back up and dump everything on someone right before they make a life-changing step, you know? So this was one of the best things I've ever done. And I was doing it alone, without parents holding on to me. And we were standing in our own bodies, in our own lives, and going, okay, I'm about to be somebody's wife, and he's about to be my husband, and we got to do the thing. And here she goes. So I took it as, why did she do that? And then as I got older, I said maybe she felt like that was the moment and she wasn't gonna let it pass her by. And she had the courage at the time, whatever it is. Because when I was in it, I was like, this is so selfish right now. I can't believe this, because I was getting ready to begin my life as a wife. So yes, knowing that you have that trauma or a past history of trauma, I took those things and I kind of stood on them and I used them as steps to become more and to become a better woman and to become a better wife. I said, look, if this is the trauma and this is what it looks like, these people gave me this trauma over here, let me use these as building blocks. Let me use them as building blocks and learn what it looks like to have something fail and go, okay, I don't want that. And let me build something that's better, because they didn't know how to. And that's fine. They didn't have the tools, maybe. I'm sure they didn't, because nobody that I knew of was in personal development. So, and it wasn't in their lives a thing. So I kind of consider the source on that. And also, I remember that people really like to go there with polygyny with me. Of course, they're supposed to. I mean, I coach marriage and polygyny, and this has been going on for 13 years now. So they're supposed to ask me these questions, and these are good questions. I'm not mad at it. But they asked me certain moments in my life that kind of changed me into this courageous Coach Fatimah that kind of shoots straight from the hip. And I said, it was a moment I was in my alley and I was on the phone with a sister friend of mine she's probably 20 years older than me. So she had been married longer than me and she had seen a lot. And we did not have similar backgrounds, but we were both Muslim women. And she said, you feel this way now. You're hurting now. I know that right now, because her husband knew my husband and we all knew each other. And she said something to me that really empowered me. She said, you know what, you feel like this Fatimah now. She said, but once that old Fatimah shows up, watch out. Watch out. Because she had known me for so long. She didn't know me to present myself in this way, but I also hadn't been in polygyny prior to. My priors were not polygyny. And when she said that, she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time, that I didn't think I could refamiliarize myself with. So when she said that, I was like, yeah, I'm going to work on that. And I visited another friend, and she could see it on me too. And this sister had such a beautiful apartment. It was like stepping into a fantasy world. And we were sitting eating. She made me dinner. She was a sister that her family was from India. And she said to me, she was like, you know what? I don't like this Fatimah, like this version, because she could see underlying sadness. And I said, there it is. Because the people that knew me didn't know me to be quiet and unfunny. And when she said that, well, I said, okay. That's the second person that has made reference to some type of personality change in me. And what it is that you're really trying to evaluate and process so much stuff, and you're dealing with shock, and you're dealing with guilt, and you're dealing with a sadness that is something that you can't describe, but you just kind of know, I'm going to get from under this. No, because I don't like it either. I don't like it either. So I'm like, okay, who can fix that for me but me? And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. So I decided to get on my journey with personal development. And I was always in that journey, but it was different now. It was different now. So I had to make sure that I paid close attention to what I was doing and what I was not doing, and be very self-aware of my surroundings. And I'm going to get into that as soon as I come back from these messages.
Polygamy.
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 Polygamy?
Polygamy.
Polygamy?
When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Hello, wives.
Hello,
husband.
Isn't it frustrating to see all these relationship and marriage experts not mention polygamy as though it's not an ancient solution to a modern day problem right now? Or how about those that talk against it, yet we don't know their relationship status, or they're involved in all kinds of scandals because they're scandalous?
And another thing that's so frustrating is when they're here today, gone tomorrow, and they don't offer you any tips or best practices for best results.
Or what about the religious leaders? And yes, I am calling them out, the religious leaders who don't talk about polygyny or are afraid to talk about polygyny like it's some taboo type of topic or something. And that's why we created our education campus at oprcampus.com.
Absolutely. We know that we need to make sure we have an area where we can get continuing education on all levels of relationships. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about premarital because you're single, or if you're a monogamy, you really want to build a life of fulfillment and craft it, or you choose to practice polygyny, but you need to actually have a good example so you can do it in a healthy manner.
And what's so awesome about our campus is that we have meet and greets.
And in these meet and greets, you can meet with your fellow students, you can meet with your coaches. We talk about different things with your classes. Yes, we have online live classes and challenges. So when you check that leaderboard, yes, there's a leaderboard in the campus as well. It can give you some fun, friendly competition amongst your students, amongst your peers, I guess I should say.
So with that, we want you to go ahead and make sure you have all the details. So go to oprcampus.com or click the button below to make sure you're fully plugged in, especially if you want to make 2023 your best year yet.
So click that button.
And we'll see you in the campus.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That Eid picture that we took is so fire. I love that picture so much. And that doesn't come from a place of arrogance, but I just see three powerful pillars that have been through much individually, and to come together and help other people. It's really beautiful, and it's a very humbling thing to go through. So I really enjoy seeing our pictures and our content and how you all have been so kind and offered us du'as and so many things. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. It does make me somewhat emotional because I know our stories to a certain degree. Of course, I'm not deserving of every little tiny detail. That's not my business, but to hear our stories and watch us train and help other people, it really feels good. It feels like very honorable work, but we do teach and we coach and we counsel and help others in that way too. So we do have those services as well. I will put at the bottom of the screen our links to CoachFatimah.com and CoachNyla.com for details about our coaching and counseling. It's really incredible what we do with our different clients, and they've spoken very in great detail about the breakthroughs they've experienced with us as coaches, and we coach and counsel individually. And we do have classes and meetups within our OPR campus. So I want to make sure I share that with you. I did share that with you, of course, and I want to also make sure I share something else with you. It's very, very, very important. So after these messages, I want you to check this out. Tell me what you think in the comments.
Isn't it frustrating when you think about your husband that you've had for a long time, or maybe even a short time, and then they finally decide that they want to practice polygyny, then you go, what am I supposed to do with that once you decide you want to practice polygyny? Am I going to be thrown outside? Are you going to divorce me? What's going to happen to me? You go through all these emotions and all this frustration and trying to figure it out. And then you're on the emotional roller coaster going round and round and round with your own ruminating thoughts. You feel defeated. You feel jealous. You go, what if she's younger? What if she's smarter? What if she's taller? What if she's smaller? What if he likes her more? Those are some of the things that I found extremely frustrating, and I did not know what to do as a wife for so long and a mother. And then I said, well, we can kind of have some fun together alone and all these things like that. But then no, he had this idea of polygyny. So I said, well, where do I fit in? And then I discovered that I had to make a choice. I said, I can either stay in a place of hurt and feeling betrayed and confused and dealing with my own emotions in this new normal that he decided to sign up for. So with that, I said, that's enough. I don't want that anymore for me. So I made a big decision, and that was to make sure that I read the books, healed myself, travel, and uplift my own self-esteem. Because I did that, I also decided to create the Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling Program. I wanted to be a solution, and I wanted to be part of my own solution and help others in the process. I know what it's like going on that emotional roller coaster and not knowing that, okay, this is something that my husband wants to do. He wants to practice polygyny. What can you do? You can only control yourself, because again, you can't control anybody else. So with that, I want to make sure that I offer it to you as well. It's so important to understand that growth has to happen, and growth can't happen if we're stuck in our own comfort zone. So with the Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling Program, I make sure that I equipped others with the same things that I had in those same practices for best results with less legwork. So to learn more about my Nourishing Fulfillment Coaching and Counseling Program, visit me at CoachFatimah.com for details, or hit that button below in order to apply. I will see you inside. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Okay, back, of course. Thank you all for the compliments about our commercials and things like that. They are funny. Coach Nazir took me out with that. I saw in the comments, somebody actually commented about him saying scandalous was one of the best parts of that commercial. I really, really love that part. It took me out, and I was cracking up when I actually first heard it. But let's get back to the inner strength part of what I was talking about. And this whole thing is about inner strength in polygyny. I was talking about self-awareness. That means that you're aware of your surroundings, which means your marriage, which means your children, your home, yourself, and what you're doing and what you're not doing, and holding oneself accountable for your actions, and having a plan, having an action plan, and trying to figure out what is going on with you, and sharing that at some point sooner rather than later with your spouse, so they don't have to figure you out and they know what's going on with you. Because one thing that is very difficult is to be in a marriage where one is trying to figure out what's going on with the other, because there's no communication. So remember, the hard conversations matter, but the hard conversations don't have to be hostile. They should not be hostile if you want, because once they're hostile, then the conversations are over, because then everyone is not feeling heard. They don't want to feel heard. They feel absolutely threatened to some degree, and some don't feel as threatened to the same degree as others. So I give you an example. If you're saying, I'll just divorce you and take the kids, what? They're not just one parent over the other to take. So and we throw that out there just out of anger and for no reason at all other than being full of malice and hatred, then that is extremely traumatizing to the other parent. To the other parent. I just was watching something on IG where this man threw his wife and the kids out the house, and the kids. One of the kids was a baby, and the clothes went after them. And I was like, what is going on? And this woman is arguing with him with this baby on her hip, and it was just, I had to come off of it because it was actually rough to watch that unfold. So it's a threatening thing to see. It's a threatening thing to hear. And it shouldn't be repeated when you're saying something in an argument to see who can hurt the other one more. That's extremely difficult to come back from. Now, women might say it because they're questioning the sanity of their spouse and thinking they're doing something to protect their children. I mean, I get that. However, when it is just said to be saying it to be hurtful and to try to destroy this person because something was done in a way that maybe it was not exactly like you might have wanted it done, is very upsetting. And it's hard to come back from that. And it's hard to trust someone again like that. I get it. I know it can go either way, but to be mindful of one's surroundings and knowing that these people matter and they have feelings. They do have feelings. Now, just because my co-wife and I were talking today, just because men don't express their feelings the way we do, they may be getting met with their way is wrong. That's why personality types is extremely important as well. Understanding that our husbands might not show their emotions the way we do, but their way is not wrong. Just know that they have emotions. Just know that they have them. And I remember my grandpa used to say this all the time, and he used to say it, and I know he meant it. And I really didn't understand it in my youth, but he said when a man isn't talking, he's thinking like hell. And I said, oof. Once I got older and I understood the magnitude of what he was saying, that was life-changing. I don't have to back up and dump and say everything. Just know it's going and I'm processing it. And a man's processing system is different than that of a woman. And that's all right. That's okay. As long as we have the same common goals to make sure our family is healthy. That's important. Now, a man is going to hunt and gather and do what he needs to do as a man. And what we need to do as women is not going to look the same as what they are doing. And we go, anything you can do, I can do better. What's the purpose of that, saying that? That's not serving the relationship. And I'm not going to sit up here and say, I'm going to go over here and pick up this couch and lift it up on one side and just throw it up in the air. You did it. I'm going to do it better than you. Well, I'm going to get out here and juggle all this stuff within this family. And I'm going to take on the role of the leader of the king of the family and the bay of the tribe and the husband. You move. I got this. No. I have enough of what I need to do for myself. One thing that's really beautiful is a real queen wants to see her king lead. Like she wants that for him. He's doing what he's supposed to do. And people say, well, what about it when they do it wrong? We're talking about polygyny done right. We know people do it wrong. Absolutely. We know that. However, when it's done right and he needs to lead, the chaos and distraction of, no, I'll do it. You sit in the back and then I'll tell you how this is going to go. I didn't get married to be the husband. No, I signed up to be the wife. I have no desire at all, nor have I ever had the desire to be the husband in the marriage. Because two people can't be the husband. No. He's the husband, I'm the wife. That's how that goes. That's how it's always been. That's how it will be, inshallah. There's no mixing of the roles. Mm-mm. So that's important to understand. Part of inner strength is identifying what role we have. And I want to make sure I share something with you. This is very important especially if you're new to polygyny. I want to see how many of you picked this up, because this is an incredible tool for anybody in polygyny, and especially if you're new to polygyny or if you're in marriage, across the board. Check this out.
Polygamy what?
Ready for duty, husband, sir.
Formation. I am Coach Nazir.
I'm his wife, Coach Fatimah.
And I am Coach Nyla. I am also his wife.
And if you think this is how polygamy actually works, you sadly mistaken. Nevertheless, we're the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships and authors of Let's Talk Polygamy. But I want to talk to you men specifically about the polygamy roadmap, because that's not how it worked. Hilarious. I know you were laughing. I know I was just doing it, right? But that's not how it works. So let me talk to the men, kind of share with them what's in the polygamy roadmap and how to actually practice it in a healthy way. All right? All right, good stuff. So here's the deal. There are some requisites that men need to really be successful when it comes to practicing polygyny. There's no surprise. There's no mystery that men really want multiple women. All right? It is what it is. It's in our nature to really be polygynous, if you will. The challenge is being able to do it in modern times, because it is an ancient solution, and it's also not for all men, obviously, because there's not twice as many women in the world, first of all, for all men. However, by making yourself more attractive, by making sure you have the 5 requisites down, that makes you that much more attractive. All right. And having your choice of high quality and high value women is totally different than just being average. I'm not telling you to be average. I want you to be outstanding. Average is nothing but the top of the bottom or the bottom of the top. But what I want you to do, go to polygamyroadmap.com. Get access to the men's polygamy roadmap. Yes, we have them for women as well. My wives put that together. But I'm sharing something with you because this comes from somebody who's been practicing it over a decade, over a dozen years already. All right, and we're raising a dozen children. At the beginning, it was a problem. Major problem, because we had to do trial and error and try to figure this out and use different skills and going back and forth. And, our year now doesn't look like our year 1, 2, 3, 4, or even year 5. But we had to reverse engineer some things and actually coming across what I consider the secret sauce, if you will, and to be able to put it out there, help empower others. Because there are those who are the creme de la creme. And this is not about cheating or trying to get other people do that all the time. You don't need polygyny for that. Polygyny is for a man's man, for somebody who wants to be twice the man, for somebody who wants to expand, not just talking about building family, not just talking about breaking generational curses, but stepping up to a higher level, accepting that responsibility, the leadership, and the arrows and all the hate that may come with it. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. So if you want to know these requisites and you want to measure yourself, get yourself a report card, you want to become more attractive, then go to polygamyroadmap.com. Put these principles and these things in your life to minimally be more than twice the average. Because again, average is nothing but the top of the bottom and the bottom of the top. I'm Coach Nazir. I help men get their shift together. So if you're ready to get your shift together and step it up, get to the next level, polygamyroadmap.com. I look forward to hearing back from you on what you learned from it. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
So be sure that you guys go to polygamyroadmap.com, as Coach Nazir just encouraged you to do, because this ebook is so awesome. And we've gotten some incredible feedback because we've put so much into it, and you can pick it up right away. So make sure you do that moving forward. Okay. Again, like you said, there's one for men and there's one for women as well. So with that, I'd like to share this with you ladies.
He's my husband.
He's my husband.
He was my husband first.
Well, he's mine now.
He's both our husbands.
He is, you're right. Okay, so I know you guys think that this is what polygyny is supposed to look like between co-wives. And we're here to let you know that that's not what it is.
What it is. And that's not how it works.
We're going to go and talk to these women about what it's really supposed to be.
Okay, guys.
So I'm Coach Nyla.
And I'm Coach Fatimah.
And we are co-wives, and we're married to that man, Coach Nazir, that just left out of here.
Yes.
So, yes. And the way you've seen it, usually that's what people think polygyny is, and how co-wives should behave and react when they're married to the same man.
But is that the best way? Is that the most effective way? No, not if you want long-term success in polygyny.
And we created a wonderful roadmap to help you through polygamy with different requisites as well as
vulnerability, value. We discuss value, placing value on your marriage, how to be vulnerable within your marriage, because it's actually a superpower. We speak about that in our polygamy roadmap. We also discuss vision. What is your long-term vision, again, for success in polygyny? And ultimately, victory.
Victory. How to win as a family.
Yes.
How to win with your co-wife.
Yes.
How to win overall in your marriage in polygamy. So yes, make sure you get the polygamy roadmap today at polygamyroadmap.com. Because you don't want your relationship, your marriage, your family to look like the beginning of this video.
Right. Because that's not the best practices for best results, guys.
So make sure you are growing intentionally,
loving fearlessly,
and connecting on a higher level every single day. Click the link, get the roadmap. We'll see you then. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Okay, guys. Again, ladies, make sure you go to polygamyroadmap.com and pick up that ebook that my awesome co-wife, Coach Nyla, and I, Coach Fatimah, for clarity, we created for you all specifically. So go and pick that up. Now, one thing, getting back onto the subject at hand about your inner strength in polygyny, and just across the board, one of the things, and I'll close with this, that's a really major issue and be very problematic within your marriage. And my co-wife and I were having another discussion today about this, and it is over-romanticizing our husbands. And that means that we kind of watch these different movies or shows or YouTube videos or Netflix series and rom-coms and all these different things such as those. And we go, look, he's got to have all these things. And this is what I want my husband to look like. He's got to come down and rescue me for every little thing. And he's got to fix everything up and be my knight in shining armor. Now, some of those attributes are good, but they have their limits. Okay. He can protect, he can provide, he can educate, he can lead and do those things. And yes, we love that. And we're sincere about that. That matters to women that want to sit in their femininity and say, I want a husband. I want to be married. And we're pro morals here, right? But when we say, if I get in a bad mood, he better fix it. If this is not going the right way in our marriage, it's his fault. And he better be this prince, and he better kiss me awake, and he better fix me breakfast. He better do all these different things. Now, those things matter, and we shout out to the brothers that do those things too. But we have to be our own solution a lot of times. And maybe when we don't want to be, but there's power in being that. There's lessons in being our own solutions and not creating this fantasy husband that doesn't exist. Now, do our husbands have awesome attributes? Absolutely. But to take it and go to extremes with it is not something that is necessarily going to benefit your marriage, because our husbands are still learning. Our husbands are still trying to grow. They have their goals. They have personal goals of their own, prayerfully, that they want to achieve. They're fathers. So sometimes I have to show up like a friend and go, what's going on? Because I don't have all the information on all the kids, because all the kids don't live in my home. So if some of my bonus babies are sick, I'll ask mom or dad, how are they? But specifically their father, because I might see him more, and I'll say, or I have to shoot my co-wife a text, how are the kids? What's going on with this one? What's going on? And he'll let me kind of know. And then I can kind of see where I'm kind of needed. And I usually draw them pictures when they don't feel well and little characters or whatever, because I want them to know I'm still there. Although I don't live in the house with them, I'm still thinking about them, and I still want to hug them, and I still care about them, and I'm here for them because I love them like they're my own. So that matters to me. So I have to show up in a certain capacity as a family member, as a co-wife, as a wife, as a friend, in support, and say, what can I do? And everybody does that. We do that for each other. It's not just, oh, I do that and I get nothing. No, it's not like that. We're a family through and through. So we help and support one another. So when my kids are here in our home and they're sick, my co-wife will ask, what's going on? Do I need anything? And we really try to be good at that for one another and not feel like we're out here trying to do it on our own, or I don't want to bother this person. No, bother me so that I know what is going on, because I care and I love them and I want them to know that, and I know they love me back, but I want them to know I'm here. So one of the major things, again, is not over dramatizing and over romanticizing and giving our husbands this human quality. And of course they would want to do the same for us, but it's going to be in a different way, because again, the man is the one that's practicing polygyny. So he's the one with the wives. The wives are not the ones with the wives. So we don't have all access to all the information the men have those things. And it's not easy to juggle everything, but it's not impossible. It's not an epic failure. And we see these horror stories about polygyny a lot of times. And hopefully we're going to see more success stories in polygyny. We'll be able to share those too, not just these really rough times where everything is all over the place and chaotic, or maybe it's not chaotic and you're just trying to figure out where you kind of fit in and what to do. But shout out to everyone that is doing their best and not maybe knowing everything right now to make it run as smoothly as it can, but they're also not creating division and chaos and evil within these marriages and these relationships, because we have to talk about those types of people as well, because it does happen indeed. So I'm going to make sure that you all are putting question marks in front of the questions. I'm going to take some Q&A right now. I'm going to check over here and see we got some questions, and we do. Okay, let's see. I'm going to see if I can see this question. Do each spouse need to depend on themselves more, or 50-50? Sometimes what I've learned with marriage and relationships, sometimes 50-50, sometimes it's 80-20. You know, sometimes it's not when you think about marriage and relationships. If you think about if your spouse is under the weather, I remember a couple times, and it was rare, that Coach Nazir was pretty sick over the years that we've been married. I'm just speaking over the years. Like, he was really, really not feeling good, and it didn't last long, but he had a virus of some sort, and it was really rough on him. And he had a fever and all these things. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, because I hadn't seen it often. He's a pretty strong guy. And to see him with a fever, I was like, woo. And my grandmother was a nurse. And so I was like, he's really cold and he's shivering in these things. And this was, I believe, during the winter months in the upper Midwest where we're from. And I just didn't know what I had tried everything. And she was like, well, he's just going to have to he's working hard to fight it. And I was like, I don't know what else to do. And I remember he was dealing with this really high fever, and all I did was I kind of hugged him because I tried teas, I did everything. I tried pharmaceutical medication, I did all types of things, and he kind of talked me kind of through it. But I felt a slightly panicked because I had never been met with this before. And I said, he's down and I need to think of where I need to kind of uplift him or our children in explaining that, oh, he's under the weather or he doesn't feel well today, and letting them know he's still here, he's resting, he's sleeping. I wasn't going to go, he's shivering, he's got a fever. Oh, what am I going to do? No, being as calm as I could be for our daughters at the time, and being as calm as I could be for him, and kind of talking I had to think about that. And anytime I had a child or anytime I was sick, he had to pick up and do and lead, and he's the leader. So it comes natural to him, honestly. But he had to kind of pick it up and go, okay, let me see what's for dinner down there. Let me check on the kids. Let me, and it's not for a long period. However, and I've had surgeries and he's had surgeries. So more the mental work out was important. So I said, okay, if he's sick or I'm sick, then somebody has to step in there and support. Somebody has to step in there and support. And remember I was saying about being, I always like to say my husband, my friend, and not just, oh, my husband. I'm like, he's a friend of mine as well. Not my co-wife, but she's a friend of mine as well. So you know how you do with your friends. You're there for them. You're there for your spouse prayerfully. But sometimes I make sure I don't show up with a bias, and then I can't see the responsibilities that he might have. So I'll give you an example. One of us is sick. So somebody asked us, what do you do if one of the wives is sick? What does he do specifically? I want to know what Coach Nazir does. What does the family do? What we do, if there's a death, if there is illness and he's needed, we don't give him a hard time about, oh, you can't go over there. You're supposed to be here today. Or you can't be over there tonight because you're supposed to be here to, no. When we get sick, if anybody gets sick, if any relative that we had passed away, he's there, and we don't make it chaos, and we don't go, no, you can't leave. You can't move. Grown man. And if we trust him enough to make the right decision, he's going to make the right decision. He's going to make the right decision. So we don't, because I think some co-wives will go, well, he's supposed to be at your house. Well, what do you do when he's at your house for the night and she gets sick? And then what? Does he go over there? I would hope he does. I hope he does. I would think that he should, and he's going to go. And I will encourage that. And I will tell anyone, I encourage him to be there for anybody in his family that is very sick and needs to go to hospitals and all these things like that. He should do that. He would never think twice about, he wouldn't specifically, because this was asked specifically of Coach Nazir, would he ever think of not doing that? I said, I don't think he would ever not think of doing those things. I think it was first nature to go, do you need to go to the emergency room? Let's go. I'm going to take such to the emergency room. Okay. I'll be in, I'll keep you updated. Okay. And it's always with my co-wife and I, okay, let us know where we can help. Not you get over here. You're supposed to be here tonight. They can handle it. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even with our children, our bonus babies. Absolutely. Their father is going to be there for them. He's always been there for them. So we're not going to change on design because somebody else might not understand it. And it's a really good question they ask, but some people will find issue with their husband leaving. Well, she's not sick. Oh, look, I'm not willing to find out the hard way if somebody's sick or not. If they said they're sick, then I believe them because I have no reason not to. And that's something that he needs to sort out. That's not my business. That's not my business. So I just make it my business to see where I can help. So 50-50, I can't do his job. I cannot do Coach Nazir's job. He can't do my job. So I don't look at it as, well, I'm going to do 50% of your stuff. You do 50% of my stuff. Now, if we have an agreement where, look, I need help in this area, and he knows how to do some things that I do in the house or whatever, business or whatever, then that's the agreement we have. But our family, when we need each other, we're there. In our marriages, when we need each other, we're there. Whatever that means. So if it's something where it's not a 50-50 straight down the line, I'm not the person to challenge him when he needs to do something, I like to say, okay, let me know if I can help, or okay, go handle it. Okay, assalamu alaikum. Let me know. Because I want to just make sure everybody's okay. That's really, because I don't get upset too much about people and things like, I don't get rattled too easily. But when it comes to family and I know there's a hospital involved or people are sick and stuff like that, no, I have to know what's going on. I don't want to bother them, but I need to know what's going on with them or where I can help. Those types of things. So it isn't always, I don't look at it as, I look at it as a set of responsibilities and a set of rights that we have, and we try to support one another. Let me just see. I hope that answers your question. My son asked, does this new situation means he will have two moms? I don't know what to say. How old is he? How old is your baby? I'll just tell you what we kind of do within our family. There's no way, shape, or form that my co-wife and I try to replace one another in our family. We're two different women. And what we do with our kids, I don't want to say babies because they're not all littles, but with our grown children and with our littles, all the way down to our 5-year-old, what we do is that my bonus children call me Fatimah, and my 10-year-old calls Coach Nyla Nyla. I wouldn't want it any other way. He knows who his mother is. My bonus babies know who their mom is. But I'm going to tell you this. My children, if somebody loves my children, and it happens to be my co-wife, then I think about that's more hugs and support that they get. So because of our children's ages, and our boys have always been raised in polygyny, so they don't know anything else. And I think that's the beauty of it. They were young enough to see it and go, okay, this is what it is. They've never rejected it. Our daughters just, they were older. So for them, they had to have conversations with their dad. However, they've always respected my co-wife. They love her to death. They hug her every time they see her. I love their relationship. I love how they support one another. I love how comfortable they are. I love that I don't have to be in the middle of it. So bonus children, bonus mom, we do like those terms because step children, step mother, we know, especially in the West, have taken on such a really bad rap, and it's kind of got this negative connotation around it, and people try to use it and wield it and hurt others with it and all these things like that. And one of the things that my co-wife, Coach Nyla, did so eloquently is tell my adult daughter that I'm not trying to replace your mother. I would never. And that helped my daughter. I was not there. I didn't need to be there. I was actually out of town at the time. And I'm glad they had that. And I'm glad that my co-wife said this because it helped my grown-up daughter, who's an adult, say, oh, okay, I like that answer. And it's one of the best answers because it's the truth. There was never a plan to try to replace me. We're two different women. We're absolutely different women. Same goals, pretty much. We have the same goal for our family. But bonus mom, I love. Bonus children, bonus babies. I love those terms because then our children feel this love from us and this warmth from us as a family. So there's a unity that I don't want to disturb for my son or my bonus sons, my bonus babies, period. But my son specifically because he's here and he goes to his brother. He sees his brothers every day. Now, if they're sick, sometimes they don't get to see each other because we don't want the kids to have to go out and stuff like that. But I love their relationship because all of our kids feel comfortable with us. And that's the goal. I love that, love that, love that. That's a really good question. I like to tell children the truth, not to say that you would lie to them, but bonus mom, bonus siblings, as far as like I have 2 bonus babies. I have more than 2 bonus babies, but but I make sure that when I talk of them or speak of them, or people are asking me questions about them, I make sure that people know who they are for me. Because they kind of know who their parents are, but I want them to know who they are for me. And then my bonus babies and my family, be careful. I don't know. I was somewhere and one of my bonus boys was running and somebody made a comment and I had to kind of let them know. They didn't know how I was connected to him. And I don't know if they raised their voice. They raised their voice to a tone that I didn't like. Okay. I didn't like it. Because it didn't take all that. I said, okay, excuse me, but that's my bonus son. Yeah. You might want to bring your volume down a little bit. Oh, no, I was just making sure they don't get, no, I'll make sure they don't get hurt. Thank you, but don't do that, So that's just how I operated at the time. But that's just an example. So that's a really, really good question, but having a conversation with your children, especially, I don't like leaving dad out. So some conversations I've had with my daughters, he was not present. Some conversations he's had with them, I was not present. And I think that's good. And many we've had with both parents, but I don't need to be sitting next to my daughters or my sons when their father is addressing them or connecting with them or having a conversation with them about whatever it is. And I'm not needed. I support them having that relationship and that privacy, because I think it's good for children to connect with their father, especially if he's in their lives. I love to see that. So one of the best things Coach Nazir did was have conversations with the two oldest daughters out of the children. As our 2 oldest daughters through biology. He talked to them and I was like, I really admired that, because I've had many women say, and a few clients say, I wish my husband would kind of have that relationship or that talk, about polygyny, about family dynamics, about what's expected, about what questions can he answer and things of that nature. So that's a really good, yep. 9, they're old enough. Yeah, bonus mom is awesome. Yeah, I love it too. Because there's something about it that gives honor, and there's something about it that gives understanding that this is my bonus mom, not my mom, but she's my bonus mom, and she'll have these attributes for our relationship, and my mom has these attributes for our relationship. And it can really be beautiful for children, especially around 9 and 10 and younger, to experience that, because it's so full-bodied and they have extra hugs, extra love, extra support, extra kindness. I love that my children have more than one of us to show them love and support. So I have every confidence that they feel comfortable with that. So yes, absolutely. Thank you for that question. I appreciate it. That's so nice. Thank you so much for your du'as, everyone. May Allah protect us from the evils of our own ego and shaitan mixing things up, and the miscommunications that we can have, and the judgments that we might be met with or meet others with. It's very, very important to understand that everybody that's in polygyny, it's happening to them just in different ways. So to not diminish each person's experience is extremely important. Now, I want to share something special with you all. So just hold tight. This is really, really valuable, important information. So I want to make sure I share it with you. Off we go.
Attention! Yeah, you scroll meister, slow down a second. Let me ask you a question. What does freedom mean to you? Specifically, financial freedom. What does that look like? Now, I'm Coach Nazir. Many people know that I practice polygamy. That means I'm married to 2 incredible women. We have a total of 10 children together, including 2 bonus children. So yeah, that's a dozen. Pray for me. Now, I'm not saying any of that to impress upon you, anything about having a big family, but I am sharing with you that we've been having the time of our lives, really traveling the world these last couple of years, being to several different countries, and the ability to world school my children is priceless. Giving them more than where I come from in the Midwest, being born to a Puerto Rican mother and a Black American father when they were both 16 years old. I mean, there was a lot of poverty going on, from eating tortillas and butter or mayonnaise sandwiches. I knew broke really from both ends. But I knew something had to be different. And despite not having the ability to go to college or the funds, or even really the desire for that matter, I ended up getting my GED. Not good enough diploma. But thankfully, I came across some mentors and people saw more in me than I did in myself. And they helped me shape my priorities, which are faith, family, and finances. So now I get asked the question, hey, Coach Nazir, is it expensive to practice polygyny? How much money do you need to have? How rich do you have to be? And the short answer is it depends. All right, yes, I have a large family. Yes, we're traveling the world. We're honored to be able to do so. But one of the things I encourage everyone to do is increase your financial IQ. Make sure you're getting money online. It's not geographically restricted. And I'm honored that we did it before COVID, so things didn't get shut down. So this Sunday, I want to share with you some things that I did to increase my financial IQ and provide you with some insight on why you should also choose to get paid online, especially during this recession before things go south really fast. If you're serious about making 2023 that breakout year, then I want to see you there. Click the link below, sign up to join the webinar. It's free, or go to oprfiscallyfit.com. I look forward to seeing you there. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Now, some people might wonder, why is there oprfiscallyfit.com? Now, I'm going to tell you, I've gotten this question from wives. So I know Coach Nazir has gotten this question from husbands. How do you afford more than one wife? And I've had women actually ask me, how do you run a business? How do you do this? How do you become financially educated? What do I need to do? And many of these women are entrepreneurs, and some are stay-at-home moms, and they're in polygyny. They're married in polygyny, and they're like, well, what do I do? I'm here with my kids, or what do I do? I'm here with my kids, and I'm running a business over here. And so Coach Nazir decided that he was going to create the OPR Fiscally Fit webinars, and these are incredible. I've had some clients of mine sign up for this that are women, and they emailed me and they were like, this is just really life-changing information. Really life-changing information. So whether you're a man or a woman, single, married, or in polygyny, if you're interested in leveling up your financial IQ, make sure you are in the room for this very powerful information that Coach Nazir will be bringing prayerfully. So visit oprfiscallyfit.com for details, just like Coach said, for details on it. My brain went left for a minute. I'm going to just check once more for any more questions. Thank you all once again for the awesome comments, because you guys have really come through with them. We really appreciate them as family, as OPR team, of course, and the many compliments that you've given us on all that you've seen. This yes, question. Yes, I tried to answer it as best as I could, and these are again great questions. We really, really, really enjoy them because it's opening up the conversation. We're going to keep the conversation going. Be sure that you all check out our OPR campus at oprcampus.com to further your education in relationships, marriage, and polygyny. We have meetups, we have live events, we have classes within there as well. We have challenges, which I'm really, really enjoying. I'm loving all the challenges myself because I like to challenge myself. So that's a great, great, great place to begin. So go to oprcampus.com for details. If that is it, I'm going to be closing out this installment of Quintessential Queens, Owning Your Inner Strength. And I hope to see you all in the next one. And make sure you check out my awesome co-wife, Coach Nyla's Poly Tea in chat this Saturday. She will be going live and doing Poly Tea in chat. Just as I do Quintessential Queens, I tell everybody, because I always mean it, don't just watch my videos. Don't just watch her videos. Don't just watch Coach Nazir's videos. Watch all of them, because I'm telling you, I've had some women watch Coach Nazir's videos and they're getting a different perspective on what polygyny is like for their husbands or men in polygyny. And it really is a heart softener, and it's so much great education. We have tons and tons and tons of videos on YouTube. So make sure you're commenting, liking, and subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so that you're notified every time we upload as well. Just putting that out there, and make sure you guys are at our IG at Outstanding Relationships on IG, because many people have asked, do you guys have an IG? We absolutely do. So with that being said, and you're so welcome. Thank you all for spending this time with me as well. I really do appreciate that. I just want to share something with you really quickly. So if you want to register now with Coach Nazir for his awesome event this Sunday, Fiscally Fit, make sure you visit learnwithcoachnazir.com for details, because I know you guys are going to ask, as you should. And I'm going to leave you guys off with a little GLC, as we always do. I have to get it together because I'm solo doing it. But yes, make sure that you guys are growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. I'm Coach Fatimah. I will see you all in the next one. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.